Why do all these hotel rooms all look alike? Anyway, the Dragon Radar is telling me that the Dragon Ball is not too far away, but I stopped by the desk clerk and I told him what I do, and he gave me this. Let's check it out. Krrish is a 2006 Bollywood film about the son of Rohit and Nisha Meera from a movie called Koi Mil Gaya, a movie about a mentally challenged boy who receives enhanced intelligence as well as strength, speed, and endurance from an alien called Jadoo. So essentially E.T. if Elliot got superpowers. Krrish was directed, storied, produced, and screenplayed by Rakesh Roshan, an actor turned director whose work stretch all the way back to the 70s. Dude's been around for a while. As for his work on the movie, he believes that Krrish is on par with anything that Hollywood can produce. Anything that Hollywood can put out? Alright, well, let's just see if that's true. The movie opens up on a small house where a young boy named Krishna lives with his grandmother. You mean like Simple Jack?
You make me happy.
Actually, it's established early on that his intelligence is way advanced, but his grandmother doesn't want him to have the same exploited life that her son had.
Father, Krishna को दुनिया की नजरों से दूर ले जाऊंगी मैं.
What guardian does that? This kid is highly intelligent. I think I'm gonna take him and isolate him in the mountains. This does make sense once you see what he can do. Krishna displays superhuman strength, intelligence, and speed just like his father did. Yeah, okay, I get it. He's in shape. This is Critic Roshan, and yes, he is the son of the director. He's a well-known model and dancer over in India and has stated that the only reason he hasn't branched out into American cinema is because he hasn't found any projects that interest him. Right. Krishna is a bit of a show-off, and he gets spotted by a young boy who he has to bribe with something called Born Vita. And you thought the advertising in Man of Steel was straightforward. By the way, if that stuff is making you thirsty, it's a little hard to find here, at least where I live in the States, but it's essentially the same thing as Ovaltine.
Son of a bitch.
It might not have been a bad idea for Grandma to hide Krishna, because he's already got this guy on his trail, but the headmaster won't give him up.
आप गलती कर रहे हैं, father. बहुत बड़ी गलती.
Big mistake. Big. Huge.
Back at the village, a skydiver who honestly looks like she's in no trouble at all is chased down by Krishna. Why does this look so familiar to me? Oh yeah, it does kind of look like that. Turns out the he is a she, and Krishna is clearly infatuated with her, but he must protect his forest and he drops her to her death. No, of course not. This is Priyanka Chopra, an active philanthropist, winner of Miss World 2000, and voice of Hishani from Planes.
As long as my engines run, it's my sky. I'll show you how this is done.
And she'll be playing our love interest for the remainder of the film. You know, because it's a superhero movie, and it's like they're almost required at this point. They take her back to the camp where Krishna's friend tries to convince the Iron Sheik and company that it was just a ghost.
I don't believe all this. I also don't believe all this.
Okay, movie, I'm gonna have to ask you to stop slipping in and out of English. It's really starting to mess with me here. Priya tries to convince herself that Krishna is not a ghost, but after playing a few pranks on her, she's more scared out of her wits than ever. That's why he sends Bahadur to encourage her to meet him, which she does, discovering that he's just human after all. A human that started the birdemic. Get out of here! Krishna decides to join the campers, river rafting, playing tug of war, and volleyball, but things are getting suspicious when he starts putting GIF files on rocks. Okay, like I mentioned earlier, Krrish is a Bollywood film, which means it's most known for one thing, and this one doesn't disappoint. Yes, Krishna and Priya dance and sing on their way to his grandmother's house, where it's clear that the two have fallen for each other, but Priya must return to her home in Singapore, leaving him brokenhearted.
Am I supposed to be a man? Am I supposed to say, "That's okay, I don't mind"? I don't mind.
Back in Singapore, Priya and Honey get in trouble with Indian Pam Grier here for being 5 days late. But Honey convinces their boss not to fire them because they have found a Superboy to put on TV.
Just imagine.
What is with that weird noise? They do that every time they say just imagine. Just listen to this.
Just imagine. Just imagine. Just imagine. Just imagine. आएगा. Just imagine. Just imagine.
But every time they do it, this is all I can think about.
Imagine.
Well, of course, the two convince Krishna to come to Singapore, but before he goes, he has to do one more thing. That's right, it's time for another song and dance! What he needs to do is ask for permission, which Granny Krishna flat out refuses until she actually tells the full story from the movie's prequel, complete with the aliens. See? I told you it was like E.T. Krishna's father Rohit eventually got a job working at what looks like Epcot in Disney World with Captain Nemo?
I'd prefer a less provocative title.
Captain Nemo wanted Rohit's assistance building the machine from Minority Report, and after succeeding, Krishna's father is thought dead since he actually never returned. But after this revelation, Granny concedes to let him go to Singapore if he keeps his abilities a secret. Meanwhile, Captain Nemo, who's actually Dr. Ari, is about to launch his scheme of using the future-predicting computer to essentially run the world like a god, and he does this by literally telling the audience directly.
आज का सबसे महत्वपूर्ण समाचार.
Seriously, I have not seen this much fourth wall breaking since Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And no, I'm not going to show a clip from that. I will show this.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the middle of the film.
Yep, we're only halfway through this movie. Krishna arrives in Singapore, and after reenacting the suitcase gag from Twins, he's picked up by Priya and Honey, who set him up in his own apartment while they head to work, but not before he gets her a little present. A nose ring? And how does Priya show her gratitude? By tricking Krishna into a video shoot where he's supposed to climb faster than a monkey. Does anyone else feel like we're even watching a superhero movie? Was I tricked or something? The couple go on a date, fully clothed to a water park. Odd. But then head to the circus where it's just about time for another song and dance. Okay. No more dancing. The fun ends, however, when an accident causes an explosion, setting the tent on fire, forcing Krishna to act by finally getting into some real heroics. Krish's actions are the talk of Singapore, as his heroics have brought him instant fame. Kids are even dressing like him the very next day. A little too fast, if you ask me. What? Since Priya and Honey failed to have Krishna perform, you remember that, right? Their boss fires them, but Priya has a plan to prove that Krrish is really Krishna by hiring a biker gang to attack them, but uh-oh, that's a real biker gang. Krrish goes after the gang in what's actually some pretty sweet, albeit a tad silly, fight choreography. Oh, come on, that's not how you throw a bike. It's done like this. Yeah, that's the shit I'm talking about. Krishna mistakenly reveals his identity to Chris Lee, a man he met a little earlier, and he tells him to claim to be Krrish to get the 25 grand reward in order to fix his sister's legs. It's so touching it just makes you want to sing and dance.
The most melodic song in the world could be playing. She wouldn't even tap her foot.
Priya watches her camcorder footage discovering Krish's true identity and is set to reveal his secret as Krishna overhears that she has been lying to him this whole time.
यही तो मैं नहीं चाहता था। तुम्हें क्या लगता है कि उसे मैंने मास्क क्यों पहना?
Krishna leaves her, but Priya decides to stop the broadcast by talking to the Indian Pam Grier, who just so happens to be at Captain Nemo's press conference and is spotted by one of his security guards. My God, I left the oven on. The big guy, whose name is Vikram, helps Priya in stopping Krishna, discovering that his father and he were friends, and that Rohit is actually still alive. That's right, it turns out that years ago, Rohit actually did finish the future machine, but he locked it so that only his eyes, heartbeat, and whoa! Damn! Yeah, it turns out that Riddick was actually born with a double thumb, an abnormality I honestly didn't even notice until this point in the movie. He sees the future resulting in his son's birth and his death at the hands of... Right. The movie at this point is literally Minority Report as Vikram tries to stop him even though the future is already predicted and can't be changed, no matter how much knowledge you have. Rohit destroys the machine but is captured and kept alive in a suspended state so that Ari can rebuild the future computer, which he plans on turning on this very night. He powers it on and actually sees his own death at the hands of Krrish. Well shit, the movie already told me the ending. Might as well roll the credits now. Alright, let's see what happens. Dr. Ari tries to change his future, killing Christian from earlier. Christian recovers his mask, chasing his foe all over Singapore, eventually coming to the Isle of Dr. Ari. Finally, some action! Well, I guess I shouldn't be surprised. This is the same special effects team that came from Godzilla 2000. Ari tries to prepare for Krrish with his future computer, but like we've already said, he can't change his future, and even shooting Vikram and kidnapping Priya doesn't stop him from kicking all their asses. Even young Triple H here gets his clock clean. I am the king! Krrish saves Priya and Rohit, fulfilling the prediction of the future computer and killing Dr. Ari and reuniting his family. And that's the Bollywood super hit Krrish. How was it? Krrish is a decent film that I actually did enjoy, even though initially I was put off by the movie. The main problem being it was way too long at just under 3 hours. 3 fucking hours? This? The issue is that Krrish tries to be more than one movie. A romance / comedy / drama / finally a superhero action film. It's like another director came into the film in the second half. Ultimately, it was well received, gaining mostly positive reviews from its prequel, this movie, the sequel, and the movie to come out later in 2020. I will admit though that the dancing is a little unnecessary. But on the other hand, it's necessary. Krrish is so popular in India, it has spawned comics, games, and even a kids' animation series. If you've got a large chunk of time on your hands, watch Gangs of New York. But if you don't have that movie, this is a fair substitute. Barely. Now, for that Dragon Ball.
Just imagine.
Can't imagine.
Hey everyone, thank you for watching, and please take a minute to like, comment, and subscribe for more super videos.